Hey there, Dietitian Teresa here and Certified Personal Trainer. Today we're gonna do a little meal prep action, and I'm just gonna talk you through how I do meal prep. And you don't need to like block out 3 to 4 hours of your weekend just to meal prep food. I'm just gonna, prep and talk and give some tips along the way. I like watching meal prep videos and just kind of getting some ideas from people. This week for some meals that I am making is I will be making some overnight oats, boiling up some eggs for breakfast. Lunches are gonna be a chicken chipotle style bowl, super easy. Anybody could make these. I'm showing you how I do those. And then for dinners, basically what I like to do for dinners is I like to batch prep like a protein, a carbohydrate source, and vegetable, and then I'll pair those together. So this week it's gonna be either like ground beef or some shredded chicken that I've already made up and froze in the freezer, pairing that with some zucchini and broccoli for my fiber and veggie source, and then I'm having sweet potatoes for my carb source, and then rice if I want to mix it up, some basmati rice on the side too for those carbs as well. And then for fats, I usually depend on like butter, ghee, avocado oil, avocados, cheese, ultra simple. Sometimes I throw mayo in there for some extra fats. Like it can vary from meal to meal and what I'm feeling at that meal, but yeah, like if you don't know me by now and have watched my other videos, I love to keep nutrition as simple as possible. And I know that there's a lot of well-meaning people out there with these elaborate meal plans and meal prep, but honestly, I'm a kind of dietitian that likes it super simple and easy, and I love a good meal that's 5 ingredients or less. It's very realistic for me. It's very realistic for the majority of people, but it is also fun to have a little fun with different recipes and things like that. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and we're just gonna hop right into meal prepping for this week. Okie dokie. So what I have here is I already got the oven preheated to 400, and I have sweet potatoes out here on the stove. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a fork and then I'm gonna poke holes all throughout, and then I'm going to throw these in the oven and bake them until they are soft so I can poke the fork through, and it's like you don't have to like force it through. It's very soft, it's kind of like 35 minutes, 40 minutes, depending on how long your oven really takes to cook them. These are a lot of sweet potatoes on one pan, so it might take a little bit longer. I'm thinking more in the 45-minute end, but I'm getting these started first because I'm going to be cooking like a batch prep of ground beef. I'm also going to be throwing vegetables into the oven as well while these are cooking, so then those are cooking while I'm getting other stuff ready. There. All around, pretty much, kind of like use common sense of like, okay, if it's a smaller sweet potato, then you would probably only poke like a few holes, but if it's a larger one, you probably want more like 5 to 6 fork holes. It's especially important around those thicker areas of the potato to make sure that it has room to breathe and the heat can actually get in there to them all the way through. That's what I'm gonna finish up and put into the oven. Okay, so I got you on a different angle here, but essentially what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start chopping some zucchini and getting that in the veggie chopper, which is a lifesaver, by the way. These veggie choppers that you can just kind of chop away. And we are going to do that, throw some broccoli and zucchini on the pan to roast with the sweet potatoes. I think the most time-saving strategies that work really well for me when I'm meal prepping is to think about like what is going to take the longest to cook and prep. And that means like, okay, I know the sweet potatoes and the veggies are going to take longer to cook. So instead of waiting for the sweet potatoes to be done cooking for the very end and then add another 45 minutes to the end of my meal prep hour or half hour per se, I can then put these in there. They cook for that 45 minutes. During that 45 minutes, I'm cooking things like the chicken, the ground beef, boiling up the eggs, making the overnight oats, those types of things. Start with the longest thing first and get that cooking, and then start with the other meal prep items that you have on the agenda for the week. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm literally just taking a bag of like frozen broccoli that I put out in the fridge last night so it gets a little bit more thawed out before I put them on here. I'm just gonna spread these out in the pan with the zucchini. And then I'm gonna take some olive oil and literally just a very light drizzle, because anytime you deal with like frozen veggies and you're roasting them, you don't want to like oversaturate it with a bunch of oil, because then it'll just leave it being super mushy and it just won't cook like crispy broccoli would. That would be the next best option if you don't like mushy broccoli, is not to like saturate the whole pan of frozen vegetables with oil. And then I'll add like garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper to these veggies and put them in the oven with the sweet potatoes. And that'll be a batch prep of veggies that I can add to meals this week. Very easy, very simple. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this pan right here, this big honkin' pan, heated up, preheated, ready to go to cook some ground beef, batch prep some ground beef. We're a household that will eat leftover ground beef. Like, that's okay with us. Some people don't like that, totally a preference. I will say, like, if you cook it in like a patty form, so like into a hamburger patty, I do find that the flavor, texture, things like that tend to hold a little bit better. Because I know like towards the end of the week, you know, I like, oh, another ground beef meal, but it is just so easy, you guys, just to have a batch prep of ground beef ready to go, or chicken, turkey, whatever your vibe is there, but having like a nice higher quality animal source. So we try to get the organic ground beef from Costco. I know that it's not like the hail all like kind of beef. This is something though that's like, okay, next best step. I'm being more conscious about, oh, the label says raised without antibiotics, no added growth hormones. I know that like it is tricky these days with reading a label, but you know, just do the best you can with what you know, with what we know. Even as a dietitian, there's always things changing out there with like, oh, this food is good for you, this food is bad for you, now this food is good, now this food is bad. A lot of animal meats have gotten that in the past like few years or so, but I'm a girl that's a fan of animal meat, and I'm a dietitian that is a fan of animal proteins in your diet, because they do have what's called leucine, which actually helps with your muscle growth potential, and leucine is a type of amino acid that we need for that, and our muscles thrive with sources of leucine, which are mainly predominantly found in animal proteins. So that's why, partly why I'm a fan of it, and your body absorbs it so much better than trying to fill up with like a ton of plant proteins, and really takes the stress out of it too. I'm not against plant proteins, but right now what I'm doing is I'm gonna make some ground beef patties for my breakfast meals. I'm gonna have ground beef patties, blueberries, avocado, boiled eggs for breakfast, and keep it very simple. In the back here I have some frozen peppers that I'm thawing out that I chopped up last week, and I just froze them and they are gonna be used for my Chipotle bowls this week. So basically what I'm doing here is I'm grabbing about like a 3-ounce patty. I know what 3 ounces look like because I've done this before, so I'm just kind of eyeballing it right now. What I would recommend from people that are trying to make their own hamburger patties is to actually get a food scale and measure that out. So like each patty I would like measure out and then be like, oh, that's about 3 ounces. But essentially what I'm doing is just getting these patted down, ready to be air fried, because these are going to be like breakfast patties. I know some people will be like, ground beef for breakfast, what? But I've honestly found that it's I'm not a huge like sausage, like I don't love breakfast sausage every day of the week, but I could do beef every day of the week. And usually I'll have like one of these 3-ounce patties with a few boiled eggs, and that'll get me at least 30 grams of protein. Air frying them will also make this a leaner source. So right now these are probably more like 85, 15 they'll come out more like 90-10 after air frying them and the fat all drips off. After this, I'll add like some seasonings like salt, pepper, add some flavor. I am a simple queen over here. I don't need anything more than this, and that's okay. Whatever works for you, you find what works for you and you roll with it. If your body feels good, your cycles are regular, your blood work looks beautiful from the doctors, and you are feeling good, I mean, I think what you're doing is working for you at that point. So this is why ground beef patties at this time of my life work for me. So there you have it, and those are ready for the air fryer. Since the ground beef is done cooking, I usually put it in a large glass container that I can put away in the fridge for the week and just add it to different meals and make it really simple and easy to have a whole foods protein source, and make that into a bowl, make it into a plate with some other sides, and that is all she wrote. Okay, so what I'm doing is taking the little breakfast patties that are now cooked and ready to go, and I'm just going to put them in a little container so I can grab 1 or 2 out in the morning and pair those with my eggs for another easy protein source. Now we got like the perfectly roasted vegetables and some perfectly roasted sweet potatoes, and I'll show you what I mean by like making sure that they're done. So like if you can easily press that in, you're good. Okay, so this is basically what I would use for the Chipotle bowls this week, and we have leftover rice already, so not gonna make rice, and I'd use that as a base, and then I would add some shredded cheese into it, iceberg lettuce, some pinto beans for extra fiber, a little extra protein, and then these peppers that I just threw them in a pan, cooked them in a pan, peppers and onions, and then I have frozen chicken packs, fajita chicken that I cooked in the crock pot 2 weeks ago when I froze them in individual packs, like 4.5 ounce portions, so this makes it super easy. So I would take one of these out, set it out the night before, and then I would just assemble my Chipotle bowl. And then I'll add like salsa, some plain Greek yogurt for like the sour cream, because I do like that. Secret way to get a little extra protein in too. And then using like an avocado for some nice healthy fat sources. And this is like what a Chipotle bowl would be all in there. And I can show you how to make that real quick. Alright, well there you have it, a very simple, easy meal prep, giving you ideas. My method is more so I'm not going to get out a ton of containers and make the meals ahead of time, especially for lunches, because I do have a few minutes to assemble those bowls. That's my luxury, but if you are somebody that can't do that, I would just recommend get some individual glass containers that you can put like the Chipotle bowl, assemble the Chipotle bowl for example. Make like 3 or 4 of those up for the week, like the beginning half of the week, and then you got your lunches prepared. Same thing like with the dinners. If you find that you're super busy at night and you can't get home to assemble that meal, just again, make it ahead of time. Get it in a container, measure out your specific servings that your body needs. With the sweet potato rounds, I would put some sweet potato rounds in there, add at least 1 cup to 1.5 cups of those cooked zucchini and broccoli in there, and then I would probably add like 4 or 5 ounces of ground beef. And then for the fat source, I would sprinkle some cheese or probably do some avocado on there for a very simple meal that's very nourishing, got vitamins and minerals, fiber, carbs, fats, protein, and really gives you that energy because you're focused more so on like the whole foods focus. So same thing for like breakfast. I didn't film like boiling the eggs and things like that, but when I make breakfast, I will just peel the eggs like today once they're done and cooked, and then I'll put those in a container so I don't have to sit there and peel them in the morning. If you want them to last a little bit longer, so I might peel only like 4 of them right now and then for a couple days later, because then it'll make it last longer if the shell is still on there while they're boiled, and you can make those last a little bit longer in the fridge. Overnight oats too, those ones are very simple and you can find so many recipes out there on Pinterest. Again, like my breakfast for the next couple of days is going to be like the eggs and beef and berries and avocado like combination in the morning, and then I'll go into overnight oats, so I don't need to prep those just yet. But if you guys want to see the overnight oats recipe, I can definitely pop that in to some of my videos and give you a really simple and easy recipe to go off of. But again, thanks for watching my meal prep video. Just kind of getting some in-action shots how I assemble meals. I'm all about batch prepping, having batch ingredients you can throw together quick meals. And really, it makes it easier on your macros too if you are tracking those for a while, just to see, oh, what does 4 ounces of protein look like? What does 100 grams of sweet potato look like, so that I can get, 30 grams of carbs at this meal, or even fat sources, so many other things. So really makes your meals for macros an easier process when you break it very simply down to these simple meals. So yeah, I hope this gave you some inspo on how to batch prep, how to like assemble a meal, a little Chipotle bowl, just some ideas that you can take for you and your goals. And this is really what works well for me. If it helps anybody, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe if you'd like so you can never miss another video. Thanks for watching. Stay strong, stay nourished.